Welcome to In the Last Days. I am the host of the show, RPI, Radio Pastor Isaac. And it's an hour-long show giving you biblical information coming from the Word of God. And that's right, I am back this Tuesday. I do have a special guest with me. But before we get that started, I'm going to tell you a couple ways that you can listen to it. One of the ways that you can listen to us is right here on the greatest radio station in the world, WCC 99.9 FM. That's right. If you live in Augusta, Georgia, and South Carolina area, you can listen to us live on the radio. But if you're out of those areas and you say, well, I really don't want to miss you guys because it's getting so good, and amen, you can also go through two ways. You can also go through us with the, you can also go to us. I'm here on the radio. You can also go to us on Facebook and also on YouTube. Now, that's right. We're live on Facebook and YouTube all at the same time. One way you can listen to us on Facebook, if you go to Patrick Isaac, ISAAC. That's Patrick Isaac, ISAAC. And I do keep my Facebook page live, worldwide, so everybody can see it. But you say, you know what, I'm not on Facebook. How else? And I get to see y'all, and you can see me and this beautiful woman. That's right, my beautiful wife is in the house. You can see us on a YouTube, and that's Studio WCC. That is Studio WCC. Boy, that's a mouthful, and I still ain't finished. So if you want to listen tomorrow around about 2:00, I'm sorry we will not be here. There's a rebroadcast. I rebroadcast every Wednesday at 2 p.m. So you want to listen to us also on the internet, you can go to wcc.streamon.fm. So I got all the preliminaries out the way. And I do want to introduce my wife, but before we start doing this introduction, I do want to play something by David Wilkerson. Y'all know I love David Wilkerson. I tell you, I've been listening to David Wilkerson for a while, and it really has blessed my soul. I'm going to play this for the calls, for the calls, while y'all get y'all stuff ready and everything. And then we're going to go on with the show, and we're going to go talk about our topic. So here is David Wilkerson, Royal Wedding.
Thou lovest righteousness and hatest wickedness. Therefore God, thy God, hath anointed thee with the oil of gladness above thy fellows. All thy garments smell of myrrh and aloes and cassia, but out of the ivory palaces whereby they have made thee glad. King's daughters were among thy honorable women. Upon thy right hand did stand the queen in gold of Ophir. Hearken, O daughter, and consider, and incline thine ear. Forget also thine own people and thy father's house. So shall the king greatly desire thy beauty, for he is thy Lord, and worship thou him. The daughter of Tyre shall be there with a gift, even the rich among the people shall entreat thy favor. The king's daughter is all glorious within, her clothing is of wrought gold. She shall be brought unto the king in raiment of needlework. The virgins, her companions, and that follow her shall be brought unto thee. With gladness and rejoicing shall they be brought. They shall enter into the king's palace. Instead of thy fathers shall be thy children, whom thou mayest make princes in all the earth. I will make thy name to be remembered in all generations. Therefore shall the people praise thee forever and ever. Now, the 45th Psalm is a beautiful picture of the bride and the bridegroom. The Bible says the virgins, her companions that follow her, shall be brought unto thee. With gladness and rejoicing shall they be brought. They shall enter in to the king's palace. You imagine that moment? King Jesus, his heart full of joy, because this is the moment. This is what he died for. This is the purpose of all creation. And this is the highlight. And here she comes, all dressed in gold, the righteousness of Jesus himself. Here she comes, marching toward him, and her retinue with her. All of the redeemed of all mankind. All the virgins wide awake, and they're dancing and they're singing, and what a sound, because this is the royal wedding. And as the queen stands before her bridegroom, the marriage is about to take place. She's already committed to this man. She's left her house, she's left her land, she's left her parents, she's left her friends, she's left all behind. She's committed herself to this man. She's full of joy. She loves this man. She's about to be married to this man. But before she's married, a voice comes of warning and admonition. Hearken, O daughter, and consider, and incline thine ear. Forget also thine own people and thy father's house. Forget everything of the past. Folks, it's not enough to leave it. He said, forget it now. What is going to be your mindset when you're married to him? Are you going to give him just lip service? Are you going to just give him your body perfunctorily and just go through the motions? And your mind is going to be back on your old life, on your old things, an old friend, an old lover, something in your past? There's nothing. It's all dead. It's all gone. From this moment on, you are his. But where is your mind? You can say Jesus is first. You can say I love him. You can come to this church every time the doors are open. But what do you do when the time is your own? There are a lot of people today who say they love Jesus. The Lord has won my heart. It's not enough for him to have won your heart. He has to satisfy your heart. And there's some people who have never been satisfied with Jesus. They're always up. They're always down. They don't have that full satisfaction. And folks, that satisfaction only comes when you know he meets your needs. And he can't meet your needs till you trust. So it all comes down to trust. Then not only do you have to be satisfied, you have to be suitable for the bridegroom. You have to be suitable to him. And that suitability is what I'm going to talk about now, this beauty that makes him desire you. Incline the ear. Forget also thine own people and thy father's house. That means no relationship, no job, nothing comes between us. So shall the king greatly desire thy beauty. He will desire that beauty. I mean, he can't stay away from me. He's going to desire me. He's going to want
Amen. I tell you, I love David Wilkerson, babe. He always never thought I can, hear a preacher that comes and he talk about the end time. He could talk about prosperity, and he talk about marriage. And that's what we're going to talk about today, marriage. I got my beautiful wife, Tamika Isaac. Let her introduce herself. Introduce yourself, babe.
You just introduced myself.
I know.
You already said my name. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in tonight to In the Last Day with Marriage Talk. I am RPI wife, Tamika, and I'm glad to be here tonight.
Amen. That's my heartbeat, y'all. And I know, I do a show all the time, and I talk about a lot of things and everything. And everybody like, yeah, you talk about this marriage, but what your wife say? Let me see if you're gonna say that with your wife here, who the head of the house and all that, and you this and that. And I'm like, well, I mean, I am the head of the house. That's what the Bible say, And I just thank God for my wife. Say a few things about us. We've been married for, my wife saying, I said it was 8 months. You said it was 10.
What's that?
How long when we was dating?
Let's see. We met in August.
So you remember the specific date?
Yeah. We met in August of 2001.
What?
And you proposed to me in November of 2001.
And she said yes.
And and we got married June 2002.
Yeah. So
this year, Lord's willing, June 1st, 2020, we will be making 18 years of marriage.
Lord, thank you, Jesus. Can y'all imagine somebody putting up with RPI for 18 years? Good Lord. I can't say her because, when we first got married, my wife was 21, just turned 21.
Just turned
21. And I was 28?
Yeah.
Man, I was an old man. But I ain't gonna lie to y'all, man. I knew exactly what I wanted. When I first saw Tamika, and we did meet at Robbie's, which is a pool hall / club. Can I tell them how I first met you? Is that okay?
If you tell the story right.
Well, I do tell the story right.
No, you kind of in denial.
What I'm in denial
so
about?
I'll tell it.
Okay, well, you tell it. Make sure you tell it right, though.
But he's right about the location. It was Robbie's pool hall, and I was out with a cousin celebrating my 21st birthday. Wow. And my cousin and I walked in, and I went to go sit at the bar. She went to go play pool. Mm-hmm. So I'm sitting just like how I am now, and Patrick is sitting on the opposite side. I noticed him staring and looking at me, and I'm like, why is this man looking at me?
Because I saw something beautiful.
So before he approached me, there was another guy to my right just kept bothering me and talking to me, and he was a little intoxicated, and he just tried to be all up on me.
No,
but
he was trying to kiss on you. That's what he was trying to do.
Yeah, he kept trying to kiss my neck, and the security officer came and asked me, was the guy bothering me? And I wanted to say yes, but Patrick said, please don't get him in trouble.
Yeah,
Please don't get him in trouble.
Guy.
So I told the officer no. I said, he all right. So the guy walked off. About 5 minutes later, I get a tap on my shoulder. I look up, and it's Patrick.
That's right.
He looked at me. He said, hey. I said, hey. I looked back down. He tapped me on my shoulder again. He said, hey. I said, hey. He said, I'm Haitian.
I do not remember saying that.
I was like, okay, Ann.
You sure I said that?
You did, babe.
Come on, my game. Well, I really didn't have no game. So.
You did.
Wow.
And so it all started. That's how it started.
I don't remember saying that. I thought I said something. Hey, girl, my name is P Love. And
no, babe, no.
Wow.
That's how it all started. And from there on, he stalked me every night.
Oh my goodness! Really?
Every night, my cousin and I stayed together, and
babe, I was just
he
in
would
love.
call me, and I tell her, tell him I'm sleeping.
Wow.
Y'all, within 15 minutes, he was knocking at the door.
Well, I would just.
And so my cousin would let him in, and I would still be asleep. It used to be times I would wake up, and Patrick would be right there in my face staring at me.
Because I was looking at the beauty. The beauty
He
of
was
you.
staring at me. I said, this man is crazy.
But yet you married me.
I did. I did. I said, I do.
Yeah.
But have I known? I'm just playing.
Yeah, right. You know you the film. Girl, I'm going to be honest with you. I really didn't have no game. Did I have a game, Tamika?
Not at all.
No, I didn't. All I had was love. That's all I had. I when I saw Tamika, it was like a month. I just, at the time I had my own apartment, living by myself, and, just, been at the job for a while. So I was in love, just looking at, just settle down and, look at, so when I saw her sitting across that, over there at Robbie's, and man, I just was like, wow, that is nice. She had on a red shirt, wraparound
don't
jeans.
do the whole outfit,
Oh,
babe.
man,
Don't do it, no.
I remember everything. And I man, I got to talk to this woman. My cousin, my godbrother, he was with me, and he was, and I just, just something I saw about, just fell in love with it. The first month I told her I love her, and I thought I was going crazy because listen, man, you ain't supposed to be in love with nobody now. I mean, it takes time, and just Tamika just took my heart. I mean, and it was ordained by Yahweh.
It was, yo. Let me tell them. I had a birthday drink that night. My cousin and I, we had a birthday drink. And when we went outside, we was getting ready to leave. Patrick was like, I don't drink, I don't smoke. And he said, I see that you do. But he said, if it's meant for us to be together, God will stop all of that. Y'all, after that,
tell what else you did.
I had no desire for clubbing or drinking or anything like that. So, yes, I do believe that our marriage was ordained from God. And because like I said, I got married fresh 21.
Fresh 21.
He stalked me until I said I do.
But it was a good stalk. And now we have 4 wonderful children. I mean, they're a handful, but when I first met Tamika, and that's one thing that I do want to mention, Tamika already had a daughter, which was Kiana. And, lot of, when you dealing with, a person who have a child, me, I didn't care. I was just in love with Tamika. I mean, one thing I did say about Kiana didn't like me, period. I mean, she was only 2 years old, but she did not like me. She used to come up there and hit me and take off running, and she's like, I don't like you. I'm like, well, I like you. No, I don't really know. It used to make me feel bad. And, I told Tamika, I said, listen, I asked, I said, if I asked to marry me, would you marry me? And you said, yeah. I said, not only I'll marry you, but I'll marry Kiana. She'll be a part of us, And when you marry somebody with a child, you really have to be patient, because that's when, dealing with, other words, chastising her. And Kiana, and one thing I do say about her father, he was very active in her life. Very active. We and him didn't really get along the first time because he thought I was just a guy coming in and, just, hey, girl, and that's it. But I told him that I was in love with Tamika. I really was. And he was like, well, man, I thought you were just, So I told him, I said, listen, we going to have to work things out, If when I married, I ain't told him, I say when I marry Tamika, you going to be in my life, I'm going to be in your life. And he was, he like, yeah, that's true. And something went down. I can't wait happen anything. Something went down where I kind of threatened him. But I was calling myself trying to be hard. It backfired on me. It made me look like the bad guy. And after that, me and him became good friends. I have to say this. I learned a lot from Tamika because I remember when Eddie used to, and ladies, please listen to this. When Eddie used to come pick Kiana up, Eddie would be standing at the door. And I'm like, well, what you doing here? I said, man, why you come on in the house? And she's like, no, man, she said I couldn't come in if you ain't here. And I'm like, well, Tamika, she said, well, babe, we married, and you don't need to be coming home to hard day work, seeing some man sitting in your house, even though that is a father. So I'd rather for him to sit outside till you get home, and then we can come in together. And I never thought about it like that, And, a lot of these things, like, wow, really, I learned a lot from my wife. I was the one that was in the church, and Tamika was in the church, but, she had her way, so it always seemed like I would always use the Bible, and this is what I would do. I would use the Bible to beat my wife up. Did I not?
You did.
Yeah, and I would use it to get my way. On certain things, like, well, what the Bible said, you're supposed to do this. And my wife was like, well, yeah, but, no, you know what the Bible said, and I always used to say, well, what did Bishop say? And she like, yeah, and at the same time, it kind of like it was a control. I was controlling my wife, and it wasn't a stable marriage. My parents this July would be married for 50 years. Mm-hmm. And I tried, and much as I loved them, I could not base my marriage off there. I had to base the marriage off what Yahweh was doing. And when I understood what my wife was coming from and different things, and I seen her hurts and her pains, because there was a lot of hurt that she was dealing with on the previous relationship that I had to deal with, that's why it's so important. Let me read the scripture here. And I was going to read the other one, but let's go to 1 Peter 3. First Peter 3, and let's start with verse 5. I always got to come with the scripture. And it said, for after this manner, in the old time, the holy women also who trusted in God adored themselves, being subject to their own husband, even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord, whose daughter you are, as long as you do well and are not afraid with any amazement. Now, some people say, I ain't going to call my husband Lord. My wife respects me. She never calls me Lord, but she calls me her man. She would tell you that I am the head of the house. I don't sit up there and say, well, this the way it goes. She respects me enough. If I come with an idea, even if she knows that idea failed, it doesn't work, she be like, well, babe, I'm like, no, I want to do it this way. And then she does it anyway. I don't come home and dictate her and demand to her. The Bible say when a man and woman get married, they are what? One flesh. So me and her be like the oneness. A lot of times when I think of something, she already thinking the same thing, you know. And then too, my wife have not worked my wife have not paid bills out of the 18 years that we've been married. She haven't paid bills in 17 years. And a lot of it had to do with, it was Yahweh. Because I remember when I made my wife, you know, always concerned about money. And I had a good job. I mean, I was making good money. And I remember when my wife was pregnant with Patrick. And I told her, listen, she was working at Augustino's, holding up that tray, had that big old belly popping out. Did I say it right? Augustino's. What did I say? But anyway, and I like, listen, you gonna have to work. And she worked all the way to your what? I think it was 7th month. You start having issues. Was it 7? Mm-hmm. And the doctor said she had to take bed rest. Oh, our Lord. I'm like, what I'm going to do? What I'm going to do? How am I pay these bills? She had and couldn't find out those last 3 months, 6 months, that she was out. I paid the bill, wasn't no problem. So I said, you know what? Why should my wife have to pay bills when I'm supposed to be the head? It's my responsibility to make sure that she is comfortable, that she take care of me, I take care of her. And since then, she hasn't paid the bill. Now, is the struggle real? Yes, it's real, but I'm not doing it by myself. I'm doing it with Yahweh, for Yahweh helps me. And we just upgrade on the house, which everything doubled, and I'm still paying the bills. And I thank God that I'm able to do that, because my wife, you know, she can work. She can work if she want to. I don't force. Do I force you to work?
No, you don't, but I do work. She
does work. She does have a business. Well, she gave me that look. Yes, I do work. No. But, you know, and just like, you know, me supporting and loving her and being there for her. And you know, now we have 4 kids. And I learned real quick, too, because being a mother is hard.
Talk about it.
It is, guys. I'll be honest. I'm trying to think, was it Christopher or was it Brianna? Was it Christopher? One of them that had to stay home for 2 weeks.
Brianna, because I had a C-section.
Yeah, you had a C-section. Oh, my goodness. Coach say, when Tamika had a C-section, she couldn't do absolutely nothing. Just lay in the bed. You know, I bring her Brianna, she feed Brianna. But men, I thought my job was hard. My job ain't hard, but it keeps me. But when you got to cook, you have to clean, you have to help. God knows the homework thing just went awful. I mean, it was just like God awful. Kids would bring home D's and F's.
Oh, gosh.
Kiana was telling me, she's like, Dad, I don't want you to help me no more. Leave me alone. I'm going to Mom. I said, well, you can't go to your mommy. Well, I don't know. So then trying to take them to school in the morning, try to get their clothes. I mean, I had to wash clothes. I had to give them baths. It was a job. And I took 2 weeks off work, and I was more tired than I was working on my job than doing that. And it gave me a greater respect for Tamika.
Yes, God. Full-time job.
Full-time job. It changed my compassion. I was more sensitive toward her feelings, her emotions. Even though I was working, I always come on and say, and listen to how her day was. And, you know, seeing her with the kids doing it, I mean, I'm like, wow. So Yahweh showed me that. And it really shifted our marriage. It really did a big shift in our marriage, because I found like, here this woman pushed this baby out for me. She got cut and everything. And I'm going to treat her like she a piece of trash in the street? No way. You know, no way. So God kind of had to refresh my memory of how blessed I am, because the Bible said a woman is a gift from God. And she truly is a gift. Babe, I want to talk. You go ahead and say some things.
Oh, I'm
like, good Lord.
Doing like what I normally do. I'm listening.
You know, so, I mean, it's just a blessing. Let me, and this is the scripture here that I really want to hit right here. So we back to 1 Peter 3 and verse 7.
Peter 3.
I say it said likewise. Now it talked about a woman, what a woman should do, how she should obey her husband and all that and everything. What Sarah called Abraham Lord, and also when you guys get happy. But look what the Lord tell us. Finally, verse 7. Likewise, you husband, dwelling with them according to knowledge.
That's important.
That's important. How's that important, babe?
Well, that brings me back to the beginning of our marriage. A lot of people look at our marriage and, they look at it now because it's successful and everything like that. And, I tend to tell people, oh, you see the glory, but you don't know the story. In the beginning of our marriage, I was broken with a whole lot of things. Patrick came from a strong foundation, strong background because his parents, like he said, going on 50 years of marriage. And I came into our marriage broken because it was things that I had bottled up in me that I have never dealt with or never released and things like that. And I'm a firm believer of when it says that, if your background or how you kind of don't have the knowledge and knowing things, that when you do get married, if you've never dealt with those things and you bring those things into your marriage and never dealt with them before, they're going to keep rising and keep going and keep growing. And I used to like to fight.
Oh, yes. Oh, me.
A lot of people look at me and just can't believe that. But I used to like to fight. And I can remember Patrick and he would never argue or he would never fight with me. And it used to irritate me.
Oh, yes, it did.
I used to be like, oh, you gonna argue with me? You gonna argue with me? You fight, Y'all, it used to be time early on in our marriage where I just, get to throwing things get to packing my bags because he wouldn't argue with me. And, I would try to shove him, to make it. I think that was my way of releasing. I just wanted to fight. I wanted to argue. And, it used to be like almost every month I was packing my bags and wanting to leave. I would pack my bags. I would pack everything in the house because I'd be like, I paid for this. I made this look pretty. And I would just pack everything and get ready and take it out.
And here's the thing. And used to get Kiana. Come on, Kiana.
Yeah, get my daughter and we would just leave, be getting ready to leave. And that it was a repeated situation, kept doing it was a pattern. But that's how I was bringing relief to myself. And I remember one final time when I had took down the curtains and everything.
I remember that. Good Lord.
And I remember one time when I came back, had all my bags back, and I asked Patrick, I said, you gonna put these back up, bring everything back in? He was like, no, you did it. You put it back up and put it. That showed me a lesson right there. But going back to the word to where he said, likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge. As women, we take on a lot.
Yeah.
We take on a lot. And it's just like how my bishop said, sometimes you have to go to your wife's school of love. Patrick already knew that I was broken in areas, things that I had to go through when I was younger and everything. And like I said, I've never dealt with them. I just kept them all in. And so he knew me wanting to argue and fight all the time was my way of trying to release things. And he would go to my school of knowledge as far as trying to learn how to deal with me. He would be always, passionate. He would be patient with me. He would give me time to heal and, don't try to pressure me into talking, just whenever I was ready to talk and release, but most of all, just being that confident that I need. And, so yeah, He would just deal with me according to knowledge. He had to go and pray and ask God how to deal with me, and God would show him, look, and this is what he shared with me. She's broken, give her time. Don't try to force anything on her, or just take one step at a time.
That's right.
Try to get to the root of it and see what it is that's making these flare-ups happens and things like that. So that's what we had to do.
And a lot of time it was things that I would do that remind you of the past.
Triggers.
That was one of the biggest things, because I remember that last time she was getting ready to leave, I was like, oh no, please don't leave, please. And then the Lord say, don't do nothing. I said, Lord, he said, sit down, sit back and check your peace. I got this. And I remember Tamika got them bags, took all the curtains off the wall. I said, Lord, she taking the curtains off the wall. He said, be quiet, sit back. And I remember you took Kiana, and the Lord was just telling me, he said, I got this. I'm going to deal with her. And I remember you walked all the way to the top of the hill. You call yourself calling a taxi. Top of the hill with Kiana bags all on the shoulder. I'm like, Lord Jesus. I said, Lord, please. And I wanted to run in there so bad. Please, please. The Lord said, no. He said, if you go out there, y'all ain't going to be married. He said, you need to let me deal with her. You came to me, I'm going to deal with her. You was on top of the hill. All of a sudden, I just kept looking at the window, and all of a sudden, I just got comfortable. I said, well, okay, Lord. You say you got this. Couldn't then cut the TV on, started watching TV, and before I know it, she came in the house. Well, my text ain't come yet. Then all of a sudden, she started putting the bags down. Then she started putting Kiana in the room. Then she started going in the kitchen. Then she started cooking. Then she come in there to my son. You gonna help me put this stuff? I said, no, you the one that took all this stuff. You put it back. After that, everything was just, we started talking, about different things. Oh, well, babe, this and that. And one thing about me that my mistake was that I would overpower her. I would out-talk her. I would use the scripture, what this one that said, and then I'm gonna tell you, man, what happens when you overpower your wife and you try to beat them up with the Bible, it shuts that woman down. And it got to the point where it shut her down to where she just, whenever she couldn't come to me. She would go to somebody else to talk to, and I'm like, listen, I'm your husband and all this and this and that. And she like, she would never say nothing. And then all of a sudden she said, listen, I can't talk to you because you just talk me down, you beat me down, you make me feel like I'm a child, like I ain't nothing, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, wow, I said, man, I don't want to feel that. And then one of the issues that I did have, and that I'm not ashamed to say, I used to go to my mama all the time. Tell my mama what she ain't doing, what she's not doing, and why she ain't doing it, and this and that. But I would never tell the part what I was doing. And it got so bad till I even went and looked at a lawyer and was getting ready to get divorced. And the lawyer said, listen, y'all ain't been married long. You can this and that. And the whole time my mom was like, well, baby, this ain't the way you want to go. So when I actually sit down and talk to Tamika, I said, listen, I want to make this marriage work. And she started talking to me, and she said, you make me feel this, feel that, but you also make me feel second to your mama. That broke me. Because I was a mama's boy. I was the mama's, I was the only one home, and I went to my mama, and I always put my mama first because mama called me and this and that. And my mama knew it sometimes. She would do it. And when Tamika said, I feel second to your mama, I immediately went to my mama and said, listen, mama, I love you, but Tamika will come before you. She come before you. You don't come before her. The Bible said when a man leave his father and his mother and he cling to his wife, I say, I have to cleave to my wife. I got to get off the boobies, mama. I ain't no baby no more. And my mama was kind of upset, but then when I did that, everything in my marriage shifted. I start, feeling her relationship where she would open up me, she would talk to me, we'll sit in the bed and talk all night. We even talk about it all night. Remember we used to get in the car and just ride?
Yeah,
and
she figured out a way to make me feel relaxed because I used to have a hard time expressing myself and wanting to talk. So he knew that I would just be overwhelmed or I would just be frustrated or upset at things, and he would get me a blanket And he was like, just come on.
Come
We'll
on.
go in the car at night. And I mean, we would drive all the way to
Atlanta.
Atlanta and back. We would go to Savannah, not stop anywhere. Or just go do anything. He would just drive. And by the time I come back, that was the most peaceful sleep for me. Rest. Oh my goodness. And that's what he would do. Just to bring me some comfort and some release. Just take me on a drive and let me rest and let me sleep and come back, and it just feel like nothing.
And sometimes we would talk, and sometimes we wouldn't talk.
He would say, if you want to talk, we can. I'm here. If not, he said, just relax. Go to sleep if you want.
And with the part I used to love, y'all, is when I driving and she lay her head on my shoulder while I'm driving. And I mean, it just made me feel like I'm the man. This is my baby, you know. And I just, you know, and I just put on some music and we just listen to music and all that and just ride. And that was a release. And of course, now we can't do it. We got all the chaps in the house and they come back and, you know, but that was one of the things that we, you know, tried to work on. Then another thing, I had, you know, issues, and I'm not ashamed of this. Well, when it came to the bedroom part, it got kind of, you know, I got kind of lost and I got hooked on porn. I think that was one of the hardest part of our relationship, especially for you being a woman and seeing your husband doing that filth and just me denying it, saying I didn't have a problem. But then in Sunday I would sit in church praising, and then when I started ministering, it was just, it was all excited. And in our church, way Bishop used to do is always have the wife introduce the husband. Mm-hmm. And I used to, we used to have Sabbath service, so Bishop used to let the young minister like myself come on Saturdays and minister. And, I'd be up there ministering, and I always would look at everybody clapping. I look at Tamika. Tamika had her arm folded up. Yeah, brother, you ain't doing right. And it was the truth. And man, I tell you, but that one time what really opened up my eyes is that time when my wife went up there and she just said, you know what, I can't lie. Mm-hmm. One thing, y'all, my wife, she's not gonna lie. I told her I hope I never do a crime because she'll tell me, baby, I can't lie. You know what the Bible says. But she got up there one time and she said, this is my husband, Minister Patrick Isaac. He take care of the family. Minister Patrick, and that was it. Mm-hmm. And it got real quiet in the church. And she just looked at me and just gave me the mic. And right then and there, I thought that all the hiding and the church folks, thinking I'm looking good, but my home was just diminishing. And I remember it got so bad with Tamika said, listen, I can't deal with this. Well, I have to leave. I've got to leave. I got to leave. I can't deal with you. And I'm like, I used to cry. I'm just trying it so hard.
Well, yeah, I remember telling him that I did want to leave. But here's the thing about that. I knew God had called my husband to minister. That I know. I've never, ever not believed that, knocked his ministry or anything like that. Mm-hmm. So in the early years of our marriage, when my husband did have a strong porn addiction, that was a hard thing for me to go through. Being young, feeling of disgust. If nobody ever experienced as a wife or as a woman having to deal with their husband being addicted to porn, because it went for years. Yeah. But all the teaching that we received in church, I had to get in a place too where I started to feed my spiritual spirit. I had to begin to get scriptures. I had to begin to pray. Because at first, I didn't know how to fight this thing. I was like, this is a demon. This is a spirit. And at first, I didn't know how to fight it. I didn't think I could win, because just imagine being every night, here I am in my house, and I'm being 2-3 o'clock in the morning, me waking up, going through the house, and having to catch my husband, having to see him. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't say nothing. He would look at me. I would just look at him, and I would go back to bed. And I was like, I kept feeling like I was like, God, what is it? And I kept at that time I was blaming myself.
Yeah.
Because that's when you have to experience something like that, that's what you do. You begin to blame yourself. I was like, is it me? I'm not pretty. It's my weight. Maybe I'm not doing something that he wants me to do. And y'all, I had to fight this. I used to go online and start looking at different ways, maybe, trying something crazy, maybe he'll like this. I used to start getting on the internet myself and start looking at what these women was doing.
That's right.
And was like, okay, maybe I need to do this in the bedroom. And then I would get with him and be like, okay, show me what you looking at. So maybe, that's what I need to do. But y'all, I got, God was like, he spoke to me. He was like, no, that's not it.
Nope.
I was getting so disgusted because, like I said, it was going on for years. It went on I had to fight this battle with my husband for almost maybe 2 years, maybe.
Yeah, 2 to 3
It was
years.
real
Yeah.
strong. And, but here's the thing, when you say you in the marriage, you say that you love your spouse. And I knew this wasn't going to have to be one of the biggest things that just was going to overtake our marriage. I know that it was going to be some things down the line that I'm really going to have to, go through. And if I let this situation right here at that present time, win, then I'm not really a fighter. And so I had to get scriptures. I had to go on fast. I had to pray. When he would go to work or when he would go to sleep at night, I would take the oil and anoint his pillow, anoint his cell phone, anoint the computer and everything. And, I just started praying and asking God, just show me, what to do in this situation, what to do, because it was a stronghold on my husband, y'all. It was a stronghold. And I was like, I kept getting that word. I was like, devil, you are not going to do this. You are not going to take my husband. You are not going to do this. And, and I knew that I didn't, at the time, we didn't really know about deliverance and spirits and demons and transferring and things like that. But y'all, I was already speaking and I was like, this ain't going to go down to my sons. They ain't going to deal with this. Yep. I cast all this, demonic stuff out my house. And that's just what I had to do. I knew I didn't want to let this, like I said, end my marriage. But you just got to be in a place to where you're going to be that helpmeet for your husband. Like I said, I knew my husband had ministry on his life. And as the covering of our husband anointing and just saying that, we're going to be there. This is just what you have to do. You have to get in that word. You got to get on your knees and you got to pray, and just begin to talk to God, and God was just meeting me where I was at, and he gave me all the tools and everything that I needed to fight this demon. And when my husband got delivered from it, y'all, I was like, it's nobody but God. Yeah. It's nobody but God. So no matter what you're going through in your marriage, you take that situation to God. Yeah. You get you some scripture. You got to get a prayer life. Got to have a prayer life.
Got to.
My husband wasn't the only one going through the house praying, and it's the prayer. It's different situations that we've had to deal with in our marriage, but that was probably one of the hardest things. Right there, because it went on for so long. And I want to take that whole computer and just throw it out the house. I want to get a baseball bat and everything, but God showed me how to deal with that situation. Like I said, it wasn't me having to hang from the chandeliers like my pastor was saying, something like that. 'Cause I was like, I ain't going to be doing none of all this crazy stuff. But I just wanted to see what it was. But when God told me, it's not me, it's just something that he had to come up out that situation. Yeah.
Because, when she was doing the stuff, that I was watching, I was like, yeah, man, this is awesome. But then what it did, it just started, overworking my base nature. And what is your base nature? Base nature is the nature that God gives you, your regular nature. But when you do different things like drugs or porn or anything, any addiction, it goes beyond your base nature. So what it was doing, it would just get me more in depth in watching porn. And it to the point where I almost cheated on my wife, And I, this is new. I told her about it, one particular, and this girl just literally broke down and said, you know what? I can't do this. You a man of God. I mean, she said, you a man of God. You got an awesome wife that loves you. I'm not going to be the one to break up a man of God marriage. And I'm like, wow. And then I remember God saying, this is your last warning. Mm-hmm. I remember him saying that. And I remember nights crying. I remember that one night, Tamika was just so fair. I'm leaving. I can't take this. And I'm like, no, I'm sorry. Please, please, please. And she's like, how many times I'm going to hear, I'm sorry, Pat. You've been saying it over and over and over again. And I like, I even thought about committing suicide because I didn't know what else to do. I've been praying. I've been there. And it had such a, y'all, when I say this thing had a stronghold on me, and I remember I was sitting on the edge of my bed and I was just so frustrated. And I remember Tamika said, you know what? I'm your wife, your helpmate. I'm not going to put you aside because of what we're going to go through this together, but we're going to go through it through Christ.
Right. Amen. And
I remember right then and there, I felt a change. Mm-hmm. I started, the habit started going farther and farther and farther and farther away. And then that day I went through deliverance and I told Pastor Schaefer, I said, I don't want to deal with this. I don't fight. And I've been delivered. I mean, it just wiped it away, and ever since then, our marriage has been that there's been flowing. God has been blessed. Now, just because I stopped doing porn, was it still? Yes, it was a fight because, late at night, that's one thing my wife told me. She said, stop staying late at night watching TV.
Amen. I was just going to say that if you're going through a situation that's overtaking you or things like that, then like my husband was getting ready to say, he like to stay up late at night, watch TV, or something like that and be on his phone. And certain things, I can be in the bed with him and I wake up from something that he's watching on TV and I'll be like, babe, it don't be nothing like that, but cursing or something like that.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to get the TV going. I'm like, babe, you got to cut that off because I'm trying to rest. But if you know that you're going through something, you don't need to be up to 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning on no cell phone,
That's
on
exactly
no TVs,
right.
looking at stuff, because you have to begin to know what to feed your spirit.
That's right.
You have to know what's toxin to your spirit. And that if you're trying to walk this straight path with God and asking God daily to cleanse you and to renew you, because I ask God that every day. But if that's something that you're struggling with things, you get away from it. Get away from it.
Get away from it.
Get in the Word. Put your cell phone down. Read the Bible. Turn off the TV. Like when Bishop said, at night, he putting on headphones and just listening to praise and worship.
Yes.
You got to begin, you're weak in areas, you got to begin to feed your spirit.
Yes.
And take away all this stuff that ain't no good for you. That's just toxin your spirit and feed it, Yeah.
And by us having children, one thing I always try to do is not let my children see me doing my wrong. And I remember one night, it must have been, we was in the old house. I think it was like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Kiana coming there and Dad, she had a bad dream. And I was there looking at her. I didn't know what to do. And I said, man, I don't want my children see me at this state. Mm-hmm. And it didn't make it no better. I'm sitting at church preaching and jumping and shouting and all that. My wife looking at me. And one thing I could not do is when I preach, I could never look at my wife, because I know everybody couldn't see what I was going through, but I knew she knew. And it been times where I just had to turn my back because the eyes would just stare right through me like, you wrong. You doing wrong with you up there. And it really took God. That was one of the lowest point, I think, in the relationship. Especially being a man and being the head of the house and I'm lead. And then too, here's the thing. It brought spirits in our home. You remember that? How the children was rebellion? Mm-hmm.
Because once their head is out of order, it starts with the head.
It starts with the head.
My husband, the head of our household. So once their head is out of order, then things start to get off, balance and off whack. And that's when you be like, okay, God. And it don't really have to be God. That's right. That something is happening. Something is going on because it's not how it used to be.
That's right.
And then, like, going back to what I was saying, when my husband was dealing with the porn, it had gotten so to where I had started to shut down.
Yeah.
in different areas of our marriage.
Yep.
My husband and I, we couldn't have relations.
Nope. So couldn't.
Because I couldn't take him looking at me. And it was some things, like I said, because of what he went through, it pushed me to have to go through some things.
Exactly.
And so there I go again, having some things that I had to deal with. So God had to help me, with this. And so, but like I said, we've been going on this year, it's gonna be 18 years, and I just let that devil know. He ain't gonna take my husband. Yeah. No. I can beat this. God has made me stronger.
Yep.
He made me wiser. He make me who I am today. And I'm just not gonna sit here and just take that. Like I said, I know the anointing that God has on my husband's life. Yes, we had to go through some things.
Yes, we did.
But just being here today and just being able to testify and just being able to help people with their marriages on some of the things that, we had to go through, and just being a testimony. And then, I just look and just begin to thank God how awesome, he's been to us, because you don't really find too many people, especially, like I said, getting married at 21, and here we go getting to be, celebrating 18 years. You don't really find that.
Not right now.
And, so we real big on marriages and everything like that. So, I thank God for that.
Yes. And my baby still, but people know, I used to talk about Tamika so much. Oh man, I went to Blockbuster
years ago.
Was a Blockbuster. I tell you how long it was. And them guys, when my wife walked in there, I said, "This is my wife." They're like, "Wow,
we ancient, babe."
Yeah, I know. Wow, I know it's like getting old. When I look at Pat, I'm like, "Good Lord, boy, I'm getting old." He's 16. I'm looking up at him, but they be like, "We didn't think you was real. Way your husband used to talk to you like."
And people tell me that everywhere I go. I don't think it's nobody that don't know my husband literally. And they be like, he talk about you so much. Like, we didn't think you was real, because nobody talk about their wife like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm real. You see me.
Yeah. Because even, when I have females, ones that try to talk to me, the first thing they'll talk about my wife. And they be like, well, you really love your wife? I say, yeah. The Bible says when a man find a woman, he found a good thing or obtain favor with the Lord. And I really stick by that scripture. Husband, love your wife as Christ loved the church, that he give himself for the church. And my wife is a blessing. If I had the chance to do it all over, I would. Even through all the bad stuff that, she had to endure and I had to endure in our relationship, because, Tamika was a pistol too now. Boy, especially when they went to that fight. And that's one thing I could not stand. I remember the one time we were just sitting in the car and she was just arguing. I'm just driving. And now, mind you, I'm down Bobby Jones doing, I think the time was 55. And this girl just now I wearing glasses, and just back slapped me. Just pow, while I'm driving.
Thank God for deliverance.
Thank you, Jesus. And I'm going 55 at nighttime now. And just literally backslapped me because I wouldn't argue with her. And I remember I had to catch myself. I raised back and I would get ready to hit her. And I remember putting the car stop. I said, you know what? I got to go. She's like, what? I said, because if I hit you, I'm going to hit you again. And I don't want to be in no marriage. And I remember getting out the car. I said, you can take the car, house, whatever. She's like, no, I'm sorry. No. I'm like, no, I said, I can't deal with that. I said, listen, Ted is dead. I'm Fred. I ain't Ted no more. I ain't going to fight you. I ain't going to I love you. I don't want to put no hands on you. I want to put hands that people put hands on you. And it took a while. It really took a while. And then after that, we just like, boyfriend and girlfriend, husband. And listen.
We do. We still date.
I still, and this is important.
Enjoy each other.
This is important. I have to say this, especially to the men. Women do get overloaded with,
yes, God.
Especially if they're working with children, homework, household duties. Once a month, you have to take your wife somewhere. And that's one thing that I think that will really kept one of the part that kept our marriage strong. Once a month, it ain't got to be going to the Bahamas, but just like me and her love flea market.
Yes,
We love flea market. That's our thing. I will get a hotel. We stay Friday and Saturday. And one thing about me being elder, second in charge in church, sometimes, Bishop, one thing Bishop said, if you taking your honey out, you dismiss from the church. I'd rather see men with their wives than be in church every Sunday arguing, fighting. So I would take that Saturday, Friday, Saturday, and we would go to the flea market. We'll go out to eat. We'll stay in the hotel. We have fun. And then, all the other stuff that I like to do. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. Hallelujah. I must be, don't stop. But anyway, and I would just take her out. And we'll do that once a month. We used to go to Atlanta, but we got tired of fighting with the traffic and all the people. So we went to Columbia. And we do this. Now, we haven't been doing it lately because, things, children are getting more and getting schooled, and sometimes the finance ain't where it need to be. God bless her with this new home and everything. So, but we still do it, and that's one thing I always. If you want to see your wife calm and relax, listen. You can or do like I do. Give her $100. Hey, babe, go out and just spend time to yourself. Mm-hmm. I just do that. And I'm gonna tell you something. If you got a woman that loves you, you give her $20, she happy. I know $20 won't do much, but you give what you got, which I've always had more than enough, but, and I will bless that, take my wife here, go do this. So women need that outbreak. I mean, that gave us such a big, and then when she get back, she's so refreshed. And then, when you're in the bedroom, hey, baby, you know what I'm saying? She like, oh yeah, boy, I got you, boy. I got you, boy. I'm okay. I'm gonna stop. I know I had to throw that in there. My bad,
but
y'all.
It's true, y'all. It's true.
It's
true. It works both ways. It works both ways.
And I'm saying this to the men. Now that I'm in the marriage that I am, I never have to beg my wife for sex. Never. Because we done got to that point in our relationship where we enjoying our marriage. Just like when she asked me for money, I used to say, one of my biggest problems, what was my biggest thing, babe? Money. Oh, man. I remember having buku money in the account and would not give my wife not 1 cent.
Yeah, well, it's just because he's a big savior. He believes in, holding and making sure our family's going to always be okay. Even though he trusts God, but he just love using wisdom and don't try to spend everything that you get, save, But,
yeah, and that used to, Tamika be like, well, you got money in the bank. I said, well, baby, what if something happened? And I always say, what if something happened? And that day, I remember one time where God just broke me out of that. And my wife wasn't working. And she was up there trying to go to people to borrow money. And I'm like, what kind of man am I working, making good money, and my wife going to other people? One time I think she went to one of the family members. That bothered me. And I remember breaking down crying. Breaking down crying and saying, you know what? I would never let you treat you like that again. Anytime you need money, you get it. Remember I broke down crying and I said, I can't believe you was begging. You know what I'm saying? That was just crazy. So listen, you want to do another 30 minutes or you want to cut off at 8?
Whatever you want to do.
All right, so we're going to do a 30 minutes because let me tell y'all, so I don't get Tamika down here much. So I'm going to take advantage. So we're going to give y'all another 30 minutes, before we get here and get cranked up. I got to do a station ID. You'll listen to WCC 99.9. I am RPI. We're finna go in part 2 of Marriage Talk with my beautiful, loving, fine wife, Tamika Isaac. And we're going to just pay this little bit of David Wilkerson for about 30 seconds, and then we're going to restart it again. All righty, here we go.
Out of the ivory palaces whereby they have made thee glad. King's daughters were among thy honorable women. Upon thy right hand did stand the queen in gold of Ophir. Hearken, O daughter, consider, incline thine ear. Forget also thine own people and thy father's house. So shall the king greatly desire thy beauty, for he is thy Lord.
All right. Ooh, Lord, I've been talking the whole time that thing been on. But anyway, we're back. We're going to cut it down to 15. But yeah, one thing, let me read this part of scripture. I know I'm trying to get to the good part where it say, all right, so we still on 1 Peter 3 and verse 10. It said, for he that will love his life and see good days, let him refrain his tongue, ooh, Lord, from evil, and his lips that may speak no guile. Guile. Thank you, baby. See, she always got my back. And let him, what's that word?
Which verse you on?
11.
Eschew.
Let him eschew evil and do good, and let him speak peace and ensure it.
Mm-hmm.
For the eyes of the Lord are over the righteous, and his ears are open in their prayers by the faith of the Lord against them that do evil. Now, this is one of the most important part, because in marriage, we tend to say things that we regret. Mm. We let anger kick in, especially when we already frustrated. Like, you know, with me, Tamika tell you, I'm not the type of person that really get upset. Now, she the ones that
used to get
upset. You know, I for me to get upset, I got to really be overloaded. Mm-hmm. You know, but I do say some things that, you know, that I wish I never said. I said something one time to Tamika that was not, and I'm not going to repeat it because I don't want to bring back nothing, but it was hard, you know, and she didn't like it, and she hold me to that for a while. But sometimes as marriage couples, we have to do a timeout, especially in front of children. Mm-hmm.
Well, you shouldn't be arguing in front of children anyway.
You know, now if you have a little disagreement, it's okay to see your children.
Yeah, so they can see how we come back together.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
That's what
they
it
don't
is.
need to be seeing.
Oh man,
they need to see that coming back. They need to see apologies coming in. They need to see
exactly.
You know,
exactly, and that's one of the things that me and her. But not one time it got kind of heat. She's like, babe, you need to. I'm like, oh, no. She's like, oh, the kids. I'll look back, and I'm going to tell you something now. I'm going to say this to you, especially if you women have boys. Ooh, boy, I would never forget this day. Me and my wife had a big argument. I mean, I was, you this and that, you this. And it wasn't even my fault. At least I don't think it was anyway. And I remember we just, somehow or another, we got to pause. And I remember the kids, they was, I can hear them. What they do? Oh, man, they arguing what we going to do and all that. Oh, no. And then all of a sudden, Patrick, my oldest son, come walking in the room. And I'm like, you know, hey, what's up, Pay? Like, dude, hey, what's up, Dad? And then he going to go to Mom. Mama, you all right? Excuse me. Mama, you all right? And he going to turn around and look at me like, and you like, yeah, babe, I'm all right. Okay, all right, I just want to make sure you're all right. And I'm like, wait a minute, now, what, she? And then here come Christopher. Mama, you all right? Dad ain't doing it. I'm like, wait a minute now, Y'all see, this is what kids see. Boys gonna protect their mama. Mm-hmm. And here come the girls. Daddy, you all right? No, yeah, I'm especially Kiana. Dad, it's all right. I know sometimes mama can. I'm like, yeah, Kiana, it's fine. And you'll see that similarities, but at the same time, it's not a good thing. That's when you know it went too far. Am I right, babe? Mm-hmm. Because when kids start coming in there and all that, and you know, and then too, one thing I'm gonna say this: kids will play you, won't they?
Oh yes, they will.
Oh wow, this is something that I think we dealing with a lot now more than we was because they got older, especially with these, you know, how they operate. Now, one thing I say about Brianna will go ask you one thing, and then she come ask me, and then my wife would say no, but then I say yeah, and then before you know it, we argue. I think that only happened a couple of times before we actually started catching on. I think you came and said, hey, babe, I think they kind of playing this. Either was it Brianna or Patrick? Was it? Who was it?
Probably Patrick.
Yeah. Patrick be the one, and
that's what Yeah. He'll be the one. But we caught on. So what I'll do now, before my husband get off from work, I'll go ahead and call him and be like, such and such happened in the house today or at school, and I've already done put the consequences in. So when you get home, we're on the same page, right? So So when you come on, because I already know when you come through the door, you're going to be Marrisge, be like, that. No, we're on the same page. I'm letting you know already what I done did.
Yeah.
You know, because my husband is at work all day.
All day.
I'm home when the kids come home from school and, you know,
Yeah.
done got the grades in or done, or something done happened in the house.
That's right.
You know, so it's very important. That's why it's always very important that, you know, a husband and wife, you remain one.
That's
you be
right.
on one accord,
Yes.
you know, because when that division sets in, that's when the kids, you know, because if the devil see that he can't come between you, then who's next in the house who they going to try to go through is the kids.
Yep.
So that's why it's very imperative. It's very important that husband and wife, that, you know, it's okay to have a heated discussion or something like that, but just don't let it get overly heated, you know, to where you all are calling each other names or he's talking, you know, something like that. You know, we just don't do that. We too grown and too far in our marriage, and you know, sometimes we do have disagreements and things like that, but we come back together now. You know, we don't have that time, you know, me staying mad like how I used to back in the early days. I stay mad with him for 3-4 days. Don't talk to me, don't leave me alone. I mean, just this and that.
That was one of the hardest things, because I'm like, how can two people live in a house and lay in the same bed, ride away, and my wife, and this was way back then, she would sit in that car and would not say one word. I mean, be that mad.
But once again, remember how I told y'all early on in our relationship, this is how I used to deal with my, you know, just leave me alone, give me my time. But I used to let this go on for like 3-4 days. I tell him, don't talk to me. No, you're not getting none.
What I used to say to you all the time?
Oh goodness. He will always say, sun up, sun down. Don't let the go down on your wrath. And you know, I'll be like, oh. I would go in the bathroom. I'd just be like, oh, he always say that, you know, because I know it would be true, and I had nothing to come back with him on. But I'd just be like, I'm just gonna go an extra day. And let me tell you how it would get. I would go to bed at night, wake up in the morning, and I knew that I was upset with him, but I couldn't remember why. And I would be in the bed, like, just thinking things like, I know I'm upset with him. What can I be upset with him, like, real quick? I know I got to get up out the bed, but I need something to be upset with him where I can't talk to him. I know it got to be something. And I would think of some off the wall stuff, and I'd be like, no, I'm still mad at you. And he'd be like, really? You know, so, but it would just be me, you know, but that's what I had to.
I put it like this, and I know I'm bringing this up again, but she would be mad at me, and when I come in there like, hey babe, she like, you know, you like, look at me, I know what you're thinking. I'm like, okay, you know, and she would be mad. Now the old Tamika, you ain't touching me, don't look at me, don't even come by me. But now, even when we upset, she still bless me.
Yes, I do, because I know that it was something that I couldn't withhold from my husband. Now, back then, like I was saying, you know, a lot of our mistakes and everything like that happened at the beginning of our marriage. Now, back then, 3 days, when I say I was mad for 3 days, no, you weren't touching me. Nothing. Just leave me alone. As a matter of fact, I used to want him to go sleep on the sofa. Overgrowing that and everything like that. Then when I used to get mad, I was dealing with that. God was showing me my convictions and things like that. Then I would get mad, and he would be the same thing. Like, you know, can we, you know, I wouldn't say no, but it was just going to be angry loving. You know, that kind of like, okay, hurry up though.
But I like, oh, shoot, okay, same
you know,
thing.
And y'all women, you know, that's what we would do. But and you know that if you are in ministry, if you are a Christian, you know, and you married, and you know what the Bible says, I knew it was wrong, but I knew I didn't want to just tell him no, because I knew this was just me and my feelings and stuff like that. And I was like saying, but y'all, now we'll still have disagreements. We don't have arguments, but sometimes we do have disagreements now in our marriage. But it's nothing that lasts no more than like 5 minutes. It's over with.
And
like really,
we be laughing,
we've been laughed about it. I'm like, that's
just crazy.
Crazy. You spend so much time arguing and wasting time, because now we're living in an hour where you just don't know that tomorrow is promised to you. You don't have the time now to be sitting here and trying to be upset with one another and everything like that. Like, I love that song by the Chicago Mass Choir, I Pray That We All Be Married. And the verse that she says, man and wife sleeping in bed, and one rose on the next day to find that they love one another. I mean, it's just like that. It's just that powerful. You do not know the time. You don't know the hour of the day.
That's
and
right.
to be sitting up here arguing with your spouse about something that don't even make sense, or something that is just petty and stuff like that, you don't have that time.
Nope.
You losing precious time right now. So my husband and I, we're careful, and we making sure that we keep God first, and we keep that love there first, and everything like that, because like you just don't know. You know, my husband go to work sometimes 12, 13 hours, and him doing what he do on this job, I don't know.
Yep.
But I pray and ask God when he leaves, bring him back, and it's just like me. I'm out going somewhere. My husband don't know. It's very important. Sometimes when he get up in the morning, he be rushing out because he be trying to get the last couple of seconds in before he know it's time for him to leave. And then sometimes he have to hurry up and rush out. But sometimes I have to remind my husband, y'all, I call my husband about like 15 times a day.
I love it.
I really do. He gonna get that first morning call.
Yep.
But it's just something about just hearing him and making sure that he's okay. And sometimes, like I was saying, he rush out, so we don't have time to always, kiss or hug and say, have a good day or something like that. So I'm going to always call him.
And I love that. I call him my morning call.
Yes, I call him and but just making sure. But like I say, you just don't know. You just don't know when.
You don't. Remember that time I called you? I'm like,
and if you're going through something in your marriage, you have to begin to look at it and to say, is this something that's really something that we gonna argue over? Now, you may be going through things that really need to be dealt with, and y'all, communication is the key.
Oh yes.
Y'all, take it from me, because I didn't like to talk.
She didn't like to talk.
I didn't like to talk.
She didn't.
But I just want to fight. And that's how I was, growing up in the street. You don't have time for talking. We done did all of that. Now it's just time, And so that's how I was coming into my marriage. I didn't like to talk. You done said what you said. Now I'm just ready to, But y'all, communication is the key. If you're going through something in your marriage, y'all, no matter how much, big, small, or what you think it is, just get before. And if you can't talk to your spouse, because at time it used to be hard for me to talk to my husband because I'm tone sensitive.
Yep. And
he has a very loud mouth like his mother.
Well,
and so when he would be trying to talk to me, I'm thinking he's shouting at me.
And I'm just excited.
It's either sometimes it caused me to shut down, or it's going to cause me to overreact in the situation. But now I'm tone sensitive, and I'll be like, are you hollering at me? But I know if it's times where it's something that, and we should always be in a place where we're able to go to our spouse and everything like that. But sometimes I just have to take the situation to God.
Yes.
And if you're going through something in your marriage and you feel like you can't communicate with your husband right now, listen, that ain't really the time for you to go to Mary Susie or
say that to me,
whoever else. You get before God and just take this situation to God, because if you got somebody in there whispering in your ears and just giving you all kind of crazy and negative advice about your spouse, listen,
Well,
you got to start getting on your knees. Like I told y'all, I had to start just going before God and asking God to help me with this situation that my husband was taking me through. Now, just imagine if I was going to about 10 different other people and discussing and telling them what my husband was going through. Look at what the kind of advice that I could have gotten, and look where we could have been. That's why it's very wise and very important that you just guard your eye gates and your ear gates, because if you start having them toxin spirits speaking to you in your ear and trying to tell you something about, because sometimes somebody might be trying to tell you something to get you out the way so they can come on and step in. You can't give the devil not even an inch in these situations. And like I said, the time and the hour that we living in now, you got to be prayed up.
Yep.
You know, you got to be vigilant. You just got to start taking the enemy right now and just, you know, casting down those thoughts, those strongholds, and just, you know, just communicate, you know, be in a place with you or your husband, you know, your spouse struggling with something. Pray.
Don't beat them up. Pray for them.
That's right. Oh my gosh, y'all.
Lord Jesus.
Ooh, especially us ladies, sometimes we can be that nagging. We have to begin to sometimes to close this. Yes. How you gonna ever hear from God if you always just flapping? Ooh, you got to close this. You're going to miss your hour of visitation. Close it up and just begin to hear from God, because God will show you and begin to meet you where you at and show you how to deal with your spouse. But you're going to miss it if you always flapping. Boy. You know, you got these hardworking men that's out there that's trying, y'all. If they try, come on now, give them a little bit. If they out there really trying, but you know your spouse out there trying, working, and you coming home nagging. You know, they done been out working 12, 13 hours, and they got to come home to their house, supposed to be house of peace. You know, I make sure when it's time for my husband to come home, he ain't walking into no nasty, dirty house. Ooh. Food is always ready.
Come on now.
You know, sometimes I call him and ask him, what do you want to eat? And he don't like for me to call and ask him that, because he be like, babe, just cook it, you know.
Whatever you
but
cook.
Sometimes I want what you want, because I'm going to cook for you. I want to know what you want to eat, because I'm going to make it. You out there working, you know, I want to, you know, but I just make sure that house is clean, ladies. That man got something to eat, laundry done or whatever like that. That man shouldn't have to be coming home to no nasty, dirty house. Children all looking, you know, certain kind of ways. You make your home a peace and you just cut that foolishness out.
That's right.
The more time you missing and you know, all this downfall, all this, you know, missing out on, to be times that you all can be with one another and everything like that.
Exactly right. And you know what you said is so true. Even on aspect for the man, don't make your wife feel like she less than nothing, because we men too, sometimes we can always throw things and say stuff, you know, to our wives like, well, you know, if you'd have lost this weight, you'd have been fine, or this and that, or, you know, because one of the things that I used to do, I always use money, you know, well, I ain't gonna give you nothing, you know. Even when I'm upset with my wife, I mean, we can have an argument. She say, babe, I need some money. I like, okay, here you go. You know, I mean, you know, I don't tell her, no, you ain't getting no money. That's my money. That's our money. Mm-hmm. I don't hide nothing from my wife. My wife have my Facebook account. Her name is on all my bank accounts. She know my social security. She know my blood type. And I'm going to tell you this, which a lot of you men don't do. If my wife need my phone, I give it to her. And don't have to worry about nothing. Mm-hmm. Because I love her. We don't have no secrets in our marriage. There ain't no, well, you know, we don't work like that. Mm-hmm. Anything that I do, I tell her. If I'm balancing something, I tell her. She is my helpmate. Mm-hmm. One thing I love about her, she do not come down. When I'm in the dump, she like, listen, we ain't going to have all this dump sadness and all that. You are more than a conqueror.
That's right.
You God chosen.
Speak life.
That's right. You head of this house.
Life. You
know, and I thank God for her. And a lot of times we men's, we more goal oriented, but we're not sensitive oriented. Like when I mean that, sometimes my wife need certain sensitive side of hers to feel. A woman want to feel protected. Mm-hmm. They want to feel love, and they want to feel peace. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And I know sometimes we men, we try to do things and we try to get stuff. You know what I'm saying? I always try to make my wife feel comfortable. Mm-hmm. Like I always told her, I said, listen, I ain't gonna always make you happy, but I can always make you comfortable. Mm-hmm. You know, because happy come and go. You know, but I can make her feel comfortable, feel relaxed. I don't put too much pressure on my wife. You know what I'm saying? When she like, well, babe, which one? I said, baby, whatever you cook. I don't care if it's hot dogs, fried bologna, saying whatever. It don't matter. No, I want you to get a good meal and I want you to do this. I'm like, baby, listen, I'm fine. That's why she got the best of the best. You know, when we got that house, God knows I didn't want that house. But you know what? When I looked in her eyes and I saw how happy she was with the house, I said, let's get it. Let's get it. You know what I'm saying? This is my wife's dream house. Let's get it. Mm-hmm. You know, I gave her what she wanted. Why? Not because I'm a better man, because I love my wife. The Bible says, know your wife according to not. Love your wife as Christ loved the church. And if you don't love your wife, then why did you get married? If you got to have a second girlfriend or somebody on the side, why did you get married? My wife get my undivided attention. Yes, I work hard. I come home tired and everything. But first thing I ask, how was your day? You know, what you did. You know, she was like, well, that one time we had a problem with our bathroom with the shower. I mean, it was some stuff on there. And I done tried to get it, man, try to scrape all that stuff off there. And she tried, you know, I was just trying, I'm gonna try to get it off. And one day I came home and I was very frustrated. And I noticed I come home, you know, and I don't really make no big deal about the house or nothing. But I'm glad I kept my mouth shut because I'm like, man, you know, okay, things, you know, stuff, this and that. And I went, you know, and she was all sweating and canning. I'm like, man, what's wrong with you? She's like, well, and I said, you know, and I started saying, man, look kind of rough around here, you know. And then all of a sudden I walked in the bathroom. I said, oh my God. I didn't even say your name anyway. I said, oh man, she was on her knees scraping the sludge off our shower for 4 hours. I mean, on her knees, sweating, knees hurting. I mean, and I'm telling y'all, when we said, because on my job, it's a lot of chemicals and stuff, and she scraped that thing, and I was so happy. I said, girl, I went and bought you a crab tray. See, and let me say this too, and I know we only got 6 minutes. Let me say this too. You know, one thing I know, I always try to watch and see what my wife like.
Yeah, I see that. You
know, and I try to survive it. And that's one of the things I think sometime in marriage and it go from both sides. No, I wouldn't say it go from men's side.
No, it do go from both sides. It do go from both sides. Because just like you knowing me, you know the things that I like. Mm-hmm. I'm supposed to know what you like, even though I said, you know, sometimes with me calling you and asking you, what would you like for that? Now, I know what you like to eat, but I want to know if you have something in particular that day that you want to eat, and I'm going to, you know, go to the grocery store. If we don't have it, and I'm going to cook it. But at the same day, you know, I know what you like to eat. I know what you like to, you know, different things like that. Mm-hmm. And you know me, you know what I like to eat on different we already occasions. Know. And we
already know what I like. I ain't going to say
and you go and get it, but that's very important.
This is grown folks talking here.
You, babe.
I'm sorry.
Behave.
I'm gonna behave.
But yes, it does. I believe it goes to both ways. Both ways. You have to, and that's all again, like I was saying, with communication and knowing your spouse. You know, and there's also going back to the scripture that we was reading in Peter. You know, knowing your wife by now. Now, don't go. I can remember, y'all, my husband. Now, knowing me. And knowing my size.
Wow.
And I can remember Bishop used to always say this too when it used to be mother birthday. He go and get mother something, but it wouldn't really be for her. It really be for him. Now, my husband had to, he tried. I can remember on special occasions he wanted to go get me something real nice. And I would look in the bag and he got something in there, but y'all, the size would say one size fit all. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this?
I said, put it
on. I can't. But yo, listen, my creative side had to click in. I would get that thing and get the trying and get the stretching and get the and make it work. You know, you just have to remember. It's just like that saying, if life give you lemon, you know, make lemonade. You know, when you married and you know you got some. You know, everything is not going to always be good. Everything's not going to always be peaches and cream, y'all.
It ain't going to be 100
But it's just about, you know, putting that time in, putting that communication in, just loving on one another and just seeing, you know, like sometimes my husband and I will have these because we don't even let it go monthly. Sometimes it's going weekly and just having these talks, because if you know you're dealing with something and you're allowed to escalate and to grow and just to keep going and never trying to deal with it and never trying to deal with it. Like I remember in our marriage, my husband knew going into our marriage, like I was saying, I used to be broken with a whole lot of things, and he didn't always just try to come in there and just, pick. Like when I was ready, he would let me, he'd be like, you want to talk about it? And I'd be like, no.
Nope.
But then I'd be like, okay, well, here's what happened, and that's okay. Like he gave me time to be by myself, and then when I was ready, I would come back. And so, ladies and guys, I tell you out there, because I know we're getting ready to close. If it is something, like I said, that's going on in your relationship, because it's so important. And like I said, in the hour that we're living in now, we don't have this time to stay mad.
Come on now.
And different things like that. And, just begin, like I say, take it to God, begin to pray, and stop letting everybody in your ear, and stop letting everybody, around you with these, like I said, these toxic spirits, and just begin to pray, y'all. Marriage will work. No, it ain't going to work by itself, but you got to get in there and work.
That's right.
It's work.
That's exactly
it's work.
Right.
We wouldn't be going on 18 years just,
if we work.
We both had to work. And, like my husband said, not only did he have some struggles and something that he had to deal with, I had some too. But he went to my school and I had to go to him. We both had to go before God and just ask God to pray and ask us to teaching how to deal with each other. And it was that always keeping God first that got us to these 18 years.
Yes,
and
Lord.
So I just pray and ask, that God just touch the marriages right now, because I do know it's an attack on marriages.
Yes,
and I just pray and ask God that he just touch the marriages and touch the wife and touch the husband and the children and the home. And, just never know that your situation is never too big, never too small for God. Whatever it is, let me tell you, God is a way maker. He would do it.
Is.
Don't ever think that your situation is too big for God, that God can't take you out of something, That's what he do. He's a deliverer. He want to see us children grow. He want to see us to see us success in life and to see us to go on. He don't want to give us this and just leave us here.
That's right.
And we have to be in a place to where we don't want to be left in mess. Who wants to be left in this mess and be comfortable in it?
Yep.
So you just begin to pray and ask God to help you, and he will do that.
Yes, man, this has been an awesome show. Now y'all can't say that, oh yeah, okay, well, what he say about his wife, it's true. This woman here has been the greatest gift and the greatest blessing to RPI. And on this note, we getting ready to leave because we don't want to be too long, because we do have youngins at the house, and I see one of them on here. I hope he remember his bedtime.
It's not yet.
Not yet, but we got other ones there, and my wife got to go home and get them rolling. So you guys has been listening to In the Last Days. I am the host of the show with my beautiful, loving, fine wife, Tamika Isaac. And you have been listening to Marriage Talk. Tune in next Tuesday on In the Last Days. Have a blessed and wonderful day.
That is who you are.